experience to the civilian workplace. These warriors have world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork. And to ensure proper placement for each individual, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right candidate for the job. When your company is looking to hire talented, highly trained employees, contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
I'm Little Teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Man, it's a great time of year in sports. You got the NHL, NBA playoffs. We all love it.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
All right. And in football, college, NFL, teams getting geared up, ready for the 2019 season, getting focused on practice.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
Hey, look, can't please them all. Sports Drive, 5 to 7, right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Lawn lovers, run with us on the John Deere Z500 Series Z-Track mower. Built to mow better, faster, with an Excel Deep Mower Deck. Because whether you're up against the clock or a busy day, this zero-turn gets it done in almost no time at all. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Test drive a Z500 Series Z-Track mower at your John Deere dealer during the Take Your Turn sales event.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And if you want to be a part of today's show, just call into our studio line and join us at 972-1945. Again, that number 972-1945. Coach, just diving right into today's show, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be starting off with this list Sports Illustrated released on their website of the top 5 teams in 2019 they expect to regress, take a step back, and maybe not be quite as good as they were a year ago. Coach will start it off. The first team they list here is the Texas Longhorns. They went 10-4 last year, 7-3 in the Big 12. We're close and almost had an opportunity there to be a part of the Big 12 championship and win that game. But, Coach, you take a look at this team. They beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Things actually seem to be trending in a right direction for them, but Sports Illustrated says that they're going to take a step back in 2019.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, to be honest with you. I think there's a good chance that that Texas will do even better. They've got their quarterback coming back. They've got a good sound program now. Herman's done a good job, getting that straightened out there. The whole program, the system, good solid offense and defensive approach to football. They've recruited well. They have good recruits coming in. Yeah, they lost a few people, but nothing that's earth-shaking, I don't think. And they've got maybe a little tougher schedule, but I don't see them. We'll one of the teams that we will make sure that when we play coach prognostication a little bit later, we'll take the Texas schedule and go down and look at each game and give an outlook as to whether we think they might win that particular game or lose that particular game. Now you say, well, that's every coach does it. I don't care what they say. They say they don't, but they do, and because you have to look at the schedule to get everything else in order for the year. So as you're looking at the schedule, you're also looking at the games that are going to push you and where you might take an extra break or where you might get a lift or whatever. So anyway, we'll do that. We'll take a look at Texas, but I don't buy the Sports Illustrated look there.
All right, Coach, let's move now to our next team. We've got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, obviously 12-1 in 2018. Ian Book coming back as their starting quarterback. Coach, they end off the year with a disappointing loss to Clemson in the college football playoffs in the Cotton Bowl. Coach, 12-1 last year. You got to think this new Notre Dame team is going to be a good football team moving forward. But again, Sports Illustrated, even with Ian Book coming back for a year, thinks that they're going to take a step back in 2019.
I really have to kind of agree with Sports Illustrated on this one. I think there's a good chance. They've got a chance to duplicate what they did last year, and they do have their quarterback coming back, and he'll do a better job. Excuse me, but they've lost some people. They lost some good football players who they're not going to be able to replace right away. They may over the next year, but they won't right now. And they play a tougher schedule. And the teams that they play are a little tougher. They were in some very close games last year. Very fortunate to have won 2 or 3 ball games there that they came from behind and won when they very easily could have gone down. So I think there's a good chance Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's going to be a good football team, but I think they could certainly regress and not have a 12-1 season.
All right, Coach, how about Northwestern? They're the next team on this list, team number 3, 9-5 in 2018, 8-2 in the Big Ten Conference. Coach, you take a look at them. Former 5-star quarterback Hunter Johnson is now eligible and set to start for the Northwestern team. And Coach, you take a look at them. 9-5 last year. They could actually take a step up and improve on that schedule, but Sports Illustrated actually sees them maybe taking a step back. Maybe 7-6 might be their record this upcoming year.
Yeah, well, it's tough to win consistently at Northwestern. That guy's done. Fitzgerald, I think is his name.
Pat Fitzgerald. Yep.
Yeah, has done an outstanding job there. He was a great player there to begin with. So that's home. That's Bear Bryant at Alabama. That's whatever. That's coach going home. But he's done a good job since he took that position. I think they're always going to play tough, hard-nosed football, but it's just hard to win at Northwestern. You got to understand the people don't really associate Northwestern with the academic requirements.
Right.
They're Ivy League-ish, if you will. They're almost Ivy League standards, and then they play a tough schedule. it's difficult to recruit there. If you've ever been, there's another school I ask, had you been on the campus, if you've ever been on the Northwestern campus, you would, if you had a chance to go somewhere else, you'd have to give it some second thought. It's tough to recruit there. So with that being the case, they did have some tight football games last year that they pulled out. I think they're looking ahead at the schedule, Sports Illustrated, and saying they could have lost these games, and this coming year they play a little tougher schedule. Maybe there's a good chance that they may not pull some out they did last year. That's the way I think they're looking at it. But they're a tough football team and fun to watch. But I think they're probably right there. It's going to be difficult for them to sustain success to that extent.
All right, Coach, let's move now to our fourth team on this list. It's a team in the SEC. It's the Kentucky Wildcats, 10-3 last year. They break the streak over the Florida Gators, that 30-plus year losing streak they had. They snap that. Not only they snap it, but they snap it in the swamp in Gainesville. And, Coach, again, 10-3 on the year for them. Coach Terry Wilson is going to be back at the quarterback position, but Sports Illustrated sees them taking a step back, and this is one I actually will tend to agree with.
Oh, I agree with them totally. Now, look, they're going to lose many consider the best pass rusher in the SEC in the nation, and one of the best running backs. I like that Snell, the running back they had there. They're losing him, and they've lost a couple of other people too. So they can't stand that talent drain to that extent. It's just too much, I think, for Kentucky to. Now, having the quarterback back doesn't amount to much. It's sometimes you say, well, we've got 10, 15 Letterman coming back. The good news is they're coming. The bad news is they're coming back. That's the bad news from a losing team. So I don't know that he's going to be in any great shake there at Kentucky. But I would agree. I think they take a dip, and they've done a great job coaching there. I give Stoops all the credit in the world, but I don't see them sustaining any success up there at all. Too much talent drain. Now they're recruiting. I understand they did another pretty fair job with recruiting, and some kids that have potential. But we'll see what happens to see if they come on. But I don't see them replacing that.
All right, Coach, let's move now to the fifth team on this list. Coach, it's a team that's losing their starting quarterback. They're losing their head coach. It's West Virginia. Went 8-4 last year. We're a couple of games away, Coach. I mean, this season could have gone completely different for the West Virginia Mountaineers. They could have been a team that was vying for a spot in the college football playoffs, but a couple of upset losses do not go their way. And Coach, losing Will Greer is going to be tough. Losing Dana Holgerson is going to be really tough. West Virginia 8-4 last year, Coach. I think it's very plausible to say Sports Illustrated is correct with saying that they'll take a step back in 2019.
Well, I think they may take a step back because of losing Greer. I don't think Holgerson is gonna be that big a factor. I really don't. Now, anytime you change coaches, you got a new staff coming in. There's going to be some disruption. It's not going to be as smooth as you would have if you had a staff there and had continuity established. So they've got that factor involved. No doubt about that. But I just don't see them in the conference they're in. I think they take a step back. I really do.
All right, Coach, is there any other teams? I know we're going to be starting to take a look at some of these teams' schedules and breaking them down game by game, and we'll look at Texas a little later on the show, as you mentioned a moment ago. But is there a team that's not on this list of these 5 teams from college football that Sports Illustrated expects to take a step back? Is there 5 teams that maybe not 5 teams, but is there teams that aren't on this list that you expect to take a step back?
Well, I think you have to look at you certainly have to look at Michigan. I think Michigan has a problem up there right now. You have to take a look at. You have to really take a look at Ohio State now. They did a good job stepping in as the head coach there, but they lose some pretty valuable football players. They lose their quarterback. They lose and they pick up the kid from Georgia that transferred up there from Georgia, but there could be a huge difference, and you mark my words now when we go through the season, we'll see how he compares to Haskins, who, think about the receivers that Haskins had.
That's right.
He had number one draft pick type receivers, great speed, good athletic ability. They really lost some valuable players there. They had a big talent drain, and with the changes that they're looking at, they could certainly fall back a notch or two. So those would be two big ones that you might keep an eye on. I think it's conversely, I think Wisconsin really needs to make a comeback. You know, the team that was a big disaster this past year and has regressed was Wisconsin, going from I think a 13-1 record the year before to last year, and when they lost 7 or 8 ball games, 6 or 7 ball games, whatever it was. But anyway, I would look there in the SEC. I don't. It's tough to. It's really tough to pinpoint anything in the SEC as far as regression. We talked about Kentucky, and I think that will be. Unfortunately, another one that could take a step back, not major, not a drastic step back, but could not win as many ball games, maybe a better football team or as good, but not win as many games, and that's Florida. Because they've got, as always, they've got a very, very difficult schedule, and there were a couple of ball games they really had to pull out last year, so that could happen. I'm not saying it will, but they're a team you need to in the SEC that you need to keep your eye on. I don't think any of the better teams in the ACC. I don't see. Other than North Carolina State, but that's not a biggie, but they may take a step back by a game or two. Certainly I don't think Clemson will. I think Clemson will continue to roll, even though they're losing what many would consider a top-ranked defense. They're losing most of them.
All right, Coach, and again, you talk about Florida's schedule. They do start it off with Miami on August 24th. Then they'll also, throughout the season, they're both SEC West crossovers. Auburn in Gainesville, LSU in Baton Rouge. So those are going to be two tough tests there. And then also, of course, just playing through the normal SEC East schedule, then closing out with Florida State. So, again, Coach, going back to your point on Florida, it's going to be a very tough season for them. And it's all going to basically ride on how Felipe Franks plays right there for the Florida Gators.
I would agree. It's just like LSU. That's largely going to depend on how their quarterback plays. If he has the type year that you would hope that he would have, or LSU people would hope that he has, then they're going to be good. Their defense is going to be one of the best in the nation, and they're going to be tough to beat. Very tough to beat. But it's a lot, to a large extent, it's going to depend on him. Now, I think LSU and Texas play early in the year, don't they?
They do.
That's going to be an interesting game where both teams are going to have so much riding on their quarterbacks. Texas with Ellinger and then LSU, of course. Both teams, depending on how their quarterbacks go, will be a great determiner as to the outcome of the season for them.
No, you are absolutely right on that, Coach. We'll take our first time out. When we come back, we'll be taking a closer look at those Texas Longhorns as we get ready to take a look at their schedule and go game by game. And one of those games, as Coach mentioned, early in the season, I believe around week 2, they'll be taking on LSU. So that's going to be a heck of a matchup. We'll talk about that and more coming up next right here on Talk Football on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Pick or bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Car guys know not all motor oils are created equal, because when your engine hits 75,000 miles, cheaper motor oils won't do. That's why Valvoline created full synthetic high mileage with Max Life technology, designed to fight sludge, condition seals, and better protect critical engine components as your engine ages. Keep your high mileage ride driving well into the future. Valvoline, trusted for 150 years. Now at Advanced Auto Parts, buy 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic high mileage and a filter for just $33.99. Terms and conditions may apply.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And if you want to be a part of our show, especially you Texas Longhorns fans, we're getting ready to get into Texas' schedule and go game by game. If you've got something you want to interject, you can call into our studio line 972-1945. Again, that's 972-1945. All right, Coach, let's go ahead and dive into this. We'll take a look at the Texas Longhorns schedule, Coach. We'll start it off August 31st, Week 1, Game 1. A game that Texas should win pretty easily. It's the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs there in Austin.
Yeah, they should. That's a typical opener, and they should win that handily. No question there.
All right, Coach, let's move now to Week 2. This is going to be the big one. This is the one we mentioned a moment ago. LSU comes in to Texas Memorial Stadium there in Austin. So it's going to be a home game for the Longhorns. Most people would look at this game early in the season and think it might be a neutral site game, but it is going to be in Austin at Texas Memorial Stadium. So maybe a little home field advantage for the Longhorns in this very tough game against the LSU Tigers.
Well, that's an advantage playing in Austin now. I had thought that game, like most people, might have been in Dallas, at Jerry's house there. But it's in Austin. That's an advantage for Texas. Again, I go back to which quarterback has the best football game that day. I think that team will win the football game. Now, it's going to be difficult. Let's just look at it from the standpoint of breaking it down a little further. LSU's going to have one of the best defenses in the country. So it's going to be difficult for the Texas quarterback earlier to go out and have the type day that you would you'd want a Heisman Trophy type candidate to have, okay, to open it up. It's going to be very, very difficult against that defense. I think Texas, LSU should have the open, they should have the upper hand here. I really believe because of that defense and because I think their quarterback will play better this year than he did last year. And near the end of the season, he was getting to the point that he was pretty reliable as a quarterback. So I would say that there's a good chance LSU wins that football game against Texas. Now, that is a huge football game, and it does not eliminate Texas from being better as the year goes on, even winning their conference and even being in the national championship picture. So I think it'll be a good ball game, and I don't think it'll be a runaway by any stretch. I think it'll be a tough, tight football game, which keeps Texas in it all the way.
And you're absolutely right on that, Coach. You look at this game, both teams expected to be in the top 10, top 15. So whichever team loses is definitely not out of anything, even as far as the national title picture goes. All right, Coach, let's move to their next game, September 14th. It's their first technical road game. They won't be in Memorial Stadium, but it will be a neutral site. They'll be taking on the Rice Owls from NRG Stadium there in Houston.
Well, unfortunately for Rice, that's not going to be a pretty day. And going back to the old Southwest Conference was really a conference of, and I coached in that for a year, so I know, but that was a conference of private schools versus public schools, and the private schools really had a ton of them. That were from Rice, TCU, Baylor. Let's see, what was it? There was one or two others. Anyway, it was a lot. There are a lot of private schools trying to compete against Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and it didn't work. So it was one of the reasons for the downfall. And Rice will be a long, hard, bad day for Rice.
All right, Coach, coming up September 21st for the Texas Longhorns. They are going to be once again back at Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin, taking on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Mike Gundy coming in there with the Cowboys. Coach, this is expected to be a pretty decent game.
I think it will be a pretty decent game. It'll be a shootout. Now, here's where you're really going to see Ellinger grow up, if you will, because he's going to have to outshoot the Oklahoma State quarterback, and I think he will. I think Texas, especially being at home, Texas will win that ball game and win it by a comfortable margin. Let's say 10 or 12 points.
All right, Coach. And finally, the Longhorns are actually on a legitimate road trip now. They are headed to Morgantown to Mountaineer Field to take on West Virginia. New quarterback, new head coach. Coach, you got to think that all plays into the favor of the Texas Longhorns, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, and it looks like they have an off week before this road trip. So they had a home game and an off week. They should be rested, and I think they take care of West Virginia pretty handily, and that should be a big win for them, especially on the road.
All right, Coach. Moving next, we've got heading to the Cotton Bowl there in Dallas, Texas. It's the Oklahoma Sooners. It's the annual Red River rivalry between these two teams that Coach saying they don't like each other is putting it mildly.
Well, this is really going to be an interesting game this year now. And as usual, everybody's going to pick Oklahoma. I'm going to say, depending on how the quarterback is playing at this point, that this is one that Texas may have a little more firepower than Oklahoma because great kid, but and they may be able just to line up, knock Texas off the ball and do it. But you know who Oklahoma's going to have at quarterback?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, and whether he can stay up with Ellinger throwing the football and running, I don't think Oklahoma's going to have a good enough passing game to dominate people. So I'm gonna say Texas got a good chance to win that ball game, and it would be a biggie to say the least.
All right, Coach, let's not forget Texas did actually knock them off this past year. Sam Ehlinger actually had a pretty decent game in that game against Oklahoma there at Cotton Bowl Stadium in Dallas, Texas. All right, Coach, moving to October 19th, you've got the Kansas Jayhawks coming in. It's Les Miles' first trip to Texas Memorial Stadium there in Austin. Coach, Les Miles can get things turned around in Kansas, but it's not going to happen this year. I think this is probably going to be a cakewalk for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I think there's some pretty good grass for him to eat there too at Memorial Stadium, but he's got he's got no chance to come in there with Kansas and win a ball game. I don't think. It'd be very doubtful, and that's one of the problems with a conference like that, where you got such weak teams and like a Rice and whatever. But anyway, I don't see him getting it turned around. Maybe ever. They may get to the point at Kansas they can have a pretty decent year, but turned around to the extent that we would call that success in college football, I don't see that happening.
All right, Coach, let's move now. They'll hit the road heading to Fort Worth to Amon G. Carter Stadium, and that's where they'll be taking on the TCU Horned Frogs.
Yeah, that could be a very, very difficult ball game. TCU plays everybody about as tough as they're going to get anybody. I don't care who it is. You really don't want to play TCU. That's the type football team they are. They beat you up pretty good, and they run the football and put the absolute maximum pressure on your defense to stand in there and take some punishment. So that's going to be a tough one. But if Texas is the type football team that we think they could become, Jordan, then that's the type game they've got to go win. So they've got to go into Fort Worth and somehow pull out a win against TCU. It's going to be tough.
All right, Coach, let's say they do that. They'll be heading into their off week on November 2nd at 7-1, 6-2 on the year. Coach, you got to be feeling pretty good about that. If you are a Texas Longhorn fan, especially coming into November 9th, you're going to be heading into another team that's breaking in a new head coach this year in the Kansas State Wildcats. Again, that's a home game coming off of a bye week.
Yeah, they're in good shape there, and I think the turnover in the coaches there is going to be monumental with Kansas State. So I think Kansas State just eat Kansas State up there at home.
All right, Coach, according to your prediction so far, Texas is 9-1 on the year. They're heading into Iowa State. This is going to be at Jack Trice Stadium in Iowa. Coach, Iowa State is that giant slayer. They're that giant killer. Teams will come in there as a one-loss or undefeated team ranked inside the top 10 or top 5, and Iowa State finds a way to win. Does Iowa State find a way to win on November 16th?
You know what? They shouldn't. Texas should win that ball game now. But what we're talking about here is, whether it's Kansas State or TCU or Iowa State, unless they're ready to play, and you're exactly right, somebody will step up and knock them off. Now, they've got to be in that upper echelon, the Alabama Clemson type football team to go through the season and win as many football games as we're projecting here. But there's no way they should lose that. If they lose that football game there, then they should not be considered in any way the national championship pictures or playoff picture in any way. Yeah, so they got to win it. I say they win it.
All right, Coach. They'll go to their second road game in back-to-back weeks. They'll be heading to McLean Stadium in Waco, Texas, to take on the Baylor Bears.
Now that could be, you talk about a trap game.
Yep.
That could be a real trap game, especially look at their next game there they play. Who is that?
Their next game, they'll close off the year with their in-state rival in Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, coming to Texas Memorial Stadium.
I think between Baylor and Texas Tech, you could easily get a loss there. At Baylor might be the place that they get the loss. I think they have Texas Tech at home, don't they?
They do.
All right, so let's give them a loss there at Baylor. I just very dangerous situation for them. They should win it, but they get a loss there.
All right, Coach, and for Texas Tech,
they win at home against Texas Tech, big shootout, but they win the ball game.
All right, Coach. So you take a look at this. You have them 9-3, 10-2 on the year. That is an improvement from last year where they went 10-4, winning the Sugar Bowl. Coach, this is a Texas Longhorn team that could be really impressive and could find themselves in the Big 12 championship game. And if they're a one-loss team in the championship game, they find a way to win it, more than likely they would find themselves inside the college football playoff. So it's going to be very fun to watch this Texas Longhorn team with Sam Ehlinger at the reins at the quarterback position.
Yeah, and if they do have, you're right, one loss, and especially if it's that early season loss to LSU, one loss there and they win their conference championship, I think chances are almost insurmountable that they would be in the playoff picture there. You're right.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at another team in college football, going through their schedule and breaking it down, seeing how we expect them to do in the 2019 season. Who will it be? I will tell you there in the SEC. If you want to find out who it is, stick around. We'll be right back right after this.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. And also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Pros know doing it right means knowing where to find everything you need for the job in one stop, so you're spending more time on the job than away from it. Lowe's does it right by having what you need in stock and in the right quantities for any size job, like 250-foot and 1,000-foot rolls of Southwire Romex Simple 12-2 and 14-2 wire. Plus, get the electrical boxes, switches, dimmers, and conduit you need to complete the job. Load up today and every day. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And before we went to break, we were taking a look at the Texas Longhorns schedule, went over that one by one each game, and we kind of came to the conclusion that we expect the Longhorns to come out to about a 9-3, 10-2 type team for the 2019 season. Again, that was one of the teams that Sports Illustrated said would regress. Coach, I think you and I both agree on the fact that we actually think they're they're going to take a step forward. I actually have them in my book, early season dark horse for a college football playoff picture scenario type thing, to where not going to completely commit to them and say they're going to be in the college football playoff, but in the conversation, I think they definitely have a great opportunity. All right, Coach, let's move now to the Kentucky Wildcats. They were another team that was on that Sports Illustrated list. We'll start off their season August 31st, game 1, week 1, against the Toledo Rockets at Kroger Field there in Lexington.
Well, they should win this football game now. Keep in mind, and to tell the audience out there, what we did was we went through a list of teams, 5 teams that Sports Illustrated had projected would regress this year, and gave our opinion on it. Now, one of them was Kentucky, and we agreed that Kentucky would regress this year. They won't on this opening ball game. I think they'll take care of it. Even though, listen, it's Toledo. Those MAC conference teams play teams very, very difficult, play tough, and especially early in the year. This is one that could be a big upset. Keep that in mind because Kentucky lost. Kentucky lost a lot of talent, and a talent drain at some schools can be overcome rather easy. It cannot be overcome at Kentucky.
All right, Coach, let's move now to their second game on September 7th. It is Eastern Michigan. The Eagles will be coming into Lexington to take on the Wildcats.
Yeah, they should win this football game. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They should win those first 2 and have a couple of wins under their belt, which would be outstanding for them.
All right, Coach, it'd be 2-0 when the Florida Gators come into Lexington. You got to think Florida's going to have a little bit of revenge on their mind. Dan Mullen's going to have that team playing with a chip on their shoulder after the way that game went last year. Coach, can Kentucky make it 2 straight years over Florida?
I don't think so. I think Florida goes in and wins that football game, and I think they win it quite handily, to be honest with you, Jordan. This may be a double-digit win up in the 14 to 18-point category.
All right, Coach. So we'll move now to continue this 3-game stretch here for Kentucky that's very tough. And only one of those 3 games was at home, and that was that one to the Florida Gators. They'll now go on the road to Mississippi State in Starkville. Coach, can the Wildcats get it done on the road against the Bulldogs?
Now, this is a game they could go on the road and win. I think they did a poor job out there at Mississippi State last year. Quite honestly, they had a better football team. Not many times at Mississippi State are you going to have that much talent on one football team and not win more games.
Right.
And they that happened, and so this is one Kentucky could go get. I'm not sure if Mississippi State's going to be able to turn it around, especially losing their quarterback and with their lack of success last year. And success breeds success. Lack of success breeds lack of success. So this is one they could. I know but you have to on the road. You got to give Mississippi State the win here, most likely. But again, keep upset special and right in place there because it could happen.
All right, Coach. So if Mississippi State doesn't, in fact, get the home win against Kentucky, Kentucky will be 2-2 the very next week, heading into Columbia, South Carolina, to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Here again, these are not out of the question type losses for Kentucky. Now, if they had the same football team they had last year, with their pass rusher and with Schnell, they could be in the same front. They could be tough on people. I don't see it. I think at South Carolina wins this football game. They have to.
All right, Coach. They'll have an off week on October 5th before they head to before they host Arkansas on October 12th.
At home after an off week, I think this is one Kentucky could win. So I think we give them a win there. They're going to have to. They're going to have to win. Beat a couple of these SEC teams to even stand in there.
All right, Coach. 3-3 heading into Week 7, where they'll be taking on Georgia in Sanford Stadium in Athens. Coach, is going to be a tough test for them.
Yeah, they'll play tough for the first quarter or two, but they can't. I don't think they can win there.
All right, then they'll go back home and host Missouri at Kroger Field in Lexington.
Could be a win for them. This could be a win for them, I'm telling you. There's a little rivalry there between they're building between Kentucky and Missouri. And, Missouri's going to losing their quarterback, Locke, and a couple of other players that they're losing. I think it's going to be difficult for them to recoup the talent that they've lost. So let's give Kentucky a win here against the Missouri Tigers.
All right, Coach. So then they head into their second off week of the year. And again, remember, fans, it is going to be a 2 off-week season this year for college football. So each team will have 2 off weeks throughout the year instead of just the regular one. So the second one will happen on November 2nd. Then they'll head into a game at Kroger Field in Lexington against the Tennessee Volunteers on November 9th.
Well, they're going to think they have to win that, but Tennessee got better. I'd call this right now. I mean, it's certainly most premature, but just looking at it on the schedule, it almost looks like a coin toss, a toss-up type game. But heck, let's give Kentucky another win at home, especially after an open date there. So put some. See, it's critical that they're coming off an open date playing at home. That gives them a bigger advantage than would normally be the case. So we'll let them have it there.
No, absolutely, Coach. And you take a look at it for Tennessee. They will be coming off of a game against UAB the week before. So Tennessee will be having to play a game and focus on another team, where Kentucky will have those 2 weeks to where they can kind of rest up, and then also gives them 2 weeks to game plan for one team. So that does give them an upper hand. We'll move on now. They'll be on the road November 16th at Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, taking on the Commodores.
Boy, they're lucky up here on some of the schedule. They should beat Vanderbilt, but at Vandy, and let's say they pull that game out against Tennessee at home at Vandy, it's another toss-up game to me. I think you almost got this is a game Vanderbilt would shoot for. Right now, their coaches are looking at this game right now at Vanderbilt and pointing at this as a must-win. So I'm going to go with the Vanderbilt here.
All right, Coach. Let's keep moving now. UT Martin, the Skyhawks, coming into Lexington on November 23rd.
They'll get a win there. Then right. They've got the first 2 and this one and a couple of others in there. They should win. So.
All right, Coach. And then finally, they'll close it out, taking on their in-state rival, the Louisville Cardinals. It is a home game for Kentucky at Kroger Field there in Lexington.
Well, Kentucky, Louisville is going through a coaching change, and that's going to – I don't know how they're going to come out of this and recoup, because they were a terrible football team last year. Kentucky was a good football team last year. But the game is at Kentucky. You got to give Kentucky the edge here, I think, against Louisville. And they could again, you don't know how Louisville's going to come out of that coaching change and the quarterback position and so on, which they got a lot of things they got to shore up there.
All right, Coach. It puts them at 7-4 on the year as far as the way we see it. And, Coach, you take a look at this team, and yes, it's taking a step back. But, again, as you mentioned, with all the talent they're losing, it's a step back you expect with a team like the Kentucky Wildcats. And I think a lot of Wildcat fans still going to be happy with a 7-4 year that gets them to a decent bowl game. They'll still be playing in the Outback Bowl or the Citrus Bowl or a bowl game like that in Central Florida, so their fans will still get to go somewhere nice and sunny.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think they will be pleased with it. But they're fortunate to have the schedule that they have. That's why we go down the schedule like this. When you go down and look at each game individually, and rather than just an overall one loss for the year, it makes a big difference. Who you play, when you play them, where you play them makes a big difference. So Kentucky could end up for them with a pretty good looking year, and not be nearly as good a football team as they were last year.
Now, Coach, let me ask you about a team that is on Kentucky's schedule. It's the Arkansas Razorbacks. Obviously, they were a 2-10 team last year, but Coach Chad Morris heading into his second year. We've talked about it here numerous times on the show. The biggest improvement a team makes is going from year 1 to year 2 under a new coaching staff or a new schematic system or whatever it may be. Coach, so they're going into year 2. Chad Morris has his old quarterback from SMU that he coached there before he took the Arkansas job. What is your expectations for what you expect to see from this Arkansas team? Are they going to be an improved football team, or is it still going to take them a couple more years? Because, again, Chad Morris has taken a team that was running a very pro-style offense, a very much under center, still using a fullback type offense, and he's trying to transition them into being a spread up-tempo type team. So, Coach, do you see any kind of change here with this Arkansas team, or is it still going to take another couple of years?
Well, you would like to think that that they'll make a tremendous amount of progress this year, because they not only have last year to build on and make personnel evaluations, but they have recruited, and hopefully, I don't know how they did recruiting, but hopefully they did well recruiting. So that's going to help them. And now they've had all off season to get these people used to a new system, a spring practice, spring game, and then the summer, they'll have their key people you can bet working on, especially the skilled people, working on what they're doing. So they're going to be better. There's no doubt about that. Now, are they going to be to the point that they're a contender in the Southeastern Conference? No way. But they will be a better football team. Now, at one time, Arkansas made it back to being a contender, a legitimate contender for the league title, and in the league play anybody tough. But that's not going to be the case right now unless he does a heck of a job recruiting. They have some success and get some more talent in there, and have a good schedule, a favorable schedule. With some off dates at the right time and playing people at the right time, then they'll win a few more ball games. It won't happen this year. They will be better, and I'm anxious to see how that. You have to keep in mind now that type offense has run into problems. Some other people have tried it, but they've run into problems with it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens and see if they can do it. But Going to be interesting to watch him play anyway.
All right, Coach. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take our final timeout of the show. When we come back, we'll wrap things up and look ahead for tomorrow's show and take a look at some of the headlines from around the world of football coming up next right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, streaming on our website at ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And if you want to be a part of the show today, call us at 972-1945. Again, that number 972-1945. Coach, getting back into it here, something we were kind of looking at here on today's show is these top 5 teams that Sports Illustrated sees as teams that are going to take a step back in 2019. We went over these and kind of said whether or not we agreed with them or not. And those teams, of course, Texas, Notre Dame. We have Northwestern on here as well, along with Kentucky and West Virginia. Coach, a couple of those teams, very understandable to see them take a step back. But you've got teams like Texas, you got teams like Notre Dame, still very talented teams that maybe Notre Dame may not be 12-1 on the upcoming season, but Coach, they'll definitely still be a very talented football team.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that, but I would doubt very seriously if they'll win 12 ball games this year during the season. Now, again, they got their quarterback coming back. It's his second year, so Notre Dame's going to be good, but they lost some good people in the draft, and I think I'm not sure how they recruited, but they always have enough talent that they can fill in pretty well. I think Notre Dame will be exactly what you said, a good, solid football team. Play anybody and play them tough, but just don't win 12 ball games.
All right, Coach, let's take a look at some of the headlines around the world of football. We'll start it off in college here. And, Coach, obviously you've got Florida and Texas having the home-and-home series scheduled. Those will be played in the years 2030 and 2031. So 11 and 12 years from now is when those games will take place. That's a long time away. So, Coach, my question to you on this headline is, do you think at some point within the college football playoffs or maybe a New Year's Six bowl game, we see this matchup before it's scheduled to play in these two games?
Well, certainly that could happen. But I don't know. I think it's too difficult to even project into when it's difficult enough to project one ball game during the season, but much less a season, and then to boot getting into playoff and how it would look there would be double jeopardy. So I'd almost hate to say, Jordan, good question, but goodness gracious, you'll have to find somebody more courageous than me to make that projection.
All right, Coach, some sad news here from the University of Arizona. Their winningest football coach in school history, Dick Tomey, has passed away at the age of 80 due to complications of cancer. He was 95, 64-4 in 14 season with the Wildcats, and from 1987 to 2000 is when he was their head coach. And that included them being ranked inside the top 10 in 93 and number 4 in 1998. So, Coach, a guy that's very held in very high standards there with the University of Arizona. Some sad news for them as he's passed away.
Yeah, Dick was a good man, well respected in the coaching fraternity, And I hate to hear that, but he did a good job, and he leaves a good legacy. That's for sure.
All right, Coach. Let's continue to take a look at some of the headlines from around the world of football. We'll move now to the NFL. And Coach, Game of Thrones, it's a TV show, and we've seen now a couple of different NFL players make appearances on there. Now, when this show is filmed, it's getting close to the start of the season, Coach. And I got to ask you, are you a fan, Coach, of these players? Taking some days off from training camp or from training and getting ready for the upcoming season and going to places because, look, Game of Thrones, I'm not exactly sure what country it films in, but it is a long way from Green Bay, Wisconsin, I can tell you that. Are you a fan of guys like Aaron Rodgers who are big-name athletes and big stars on a team like Green Bay, taking some time off to go over there and film that in a time that might be a little close to the start of the season?
Okay, well, there are two or three things about this. Now, one, his time off, there's not much you can do about that, and that's fine. If it makes him feel better about life to go do something like that, that's fine. Secondly, I would know what Game of Thrones is, where it's filmed, or when it's filmed, or could care less if it's ever been on or ever will be on. So that doesn't bother me.
All right, Coach, let's move back now to some actual football news. It looks like Geno Smith is going to sign a deal with the Seattle Seahawks and potentially be the backup there for Russell Wilson in Seattle.
Yeah, I could see that. But Russell Wilson has done a great job, and he's very, very dependable. He's always there. He's been fortunate with injury. He hasn't been injured even as much as he runs around at times. I think he just knows how to protect himself well, and he stays in good shape. So, but hey, good team to go be a backup.
Absolutely, Coach. And speaking of the Seahawks, after we talked about them cutting Doug Baldwin Jr. on Friday and what that actually could have possibly meant, looks like maybe over the weekend we get a little bit of a coded message. This came yesterday on Doug Baldwin Jr.'s Twitter account. He posted a picture of him after winning the NFC Championship. Confetti's flying all around him, and the caption says, "Because the end of one journey sees the beginning of another, and guess what? It will be one hell of a journey. You'll feel emotional and physical pain you never knew existed. You'll fail over and over again, but don't worry, all of it will be the reason why you succeed." A lot of people, Coach, are taking that as his kind of his sign, his tip of the cap that he's going to be calling it a career inside the NFL.
Yeah, I think this was planned all along, and I think he worked, the team worked with him to make sure he got the best deal. I think we talked about before the reason that they cut him with an injured notation is probably going to allow him to get his max dollars out of the deal and then retire.
Absolutely, Coach. That's all the time we have for on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for Coach K here on Talk Football with Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass. You guys have a great Monday. Remember the Sports Drive coming up later on this afternoon at 5 p.m. Stephen A. Smith Show coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
The Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250-plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up is always 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. With more than 30 unique coverage options available, Progressive knows small business. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Plus, need seats to a game? Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid seat. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into all of this other NBA playoff stuff and the Lakers and their situation, I want to stop y'all by irritating y'all about something. Because I had to get on Greeny and Get Up this morning, the show Get Up, hosted by the great Mike Greenberg. My brother Jalen Rose is on there, and today Bruce Bowen was on there. The producers are extraordinary, all of this other stuff, right? You got John Beilein, the head coach